So today we're going to talk about everyone's favorite vehicle in the game, the broomstick, aka the Mark II Oppressor. I know it has a lot of colorful, wonderful names out there, but joining me today is fellow YouTuber, content creator, and she has an awesome channel. She's Ace Pilot. She likes dogfighting and Grand Theft Auto Online, as well as Ace Combat 7. Some of you may know her. Hi, Riley. How are you doing?
Hello. Doing great. Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me here.
Anytime, and be sure and check out Riley's channel if you all get the chance. I love doing these collab videos, and I'm trying to do more of them with other content creators, big and small. So this is something that's been a hot topic for the Grand Theft Auto Online community for quite a while now, and it's one of your favorite topics, right?
Yeah, it's my favorite topic. Best vehicle ever. The Oppressor Mk2.
The sarcasm is overflowing in this video. But so ever since this vehicle was added with the terabyte after hours, well, it was drip fed, it became quite the tool for griefers and tryhards in public lobbies. On one hand, yes, it is convenient for the average player in Grand Theft Auto Online for getting from point A to point B across the map. That's fantastic. But it obviously has some issues, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely has more cons than pros, honestly.
So you told me about this poll from another content creator out there.
Yeah, the professional. Yeah, he made a poll about a week ago.
Yeah.
About things that, about a discussion that we can make about the Oppressor Mk2. About changes, should it be removed from the game, maybe add something else.
For the record, like Riley told me that he's encouraging other YouTube content creators that are part of the Grand Theft Auto community, ourselves included, to also speak out regarding how much we love the Mark II Oppressor. So that's what we're doing. But real quickly to go over the vote, and feel free and check out the professional's video regarding his thoughts on the Mark II Oppressor. By the way, I have yet to watch the video. So if there's some things that we talk about that he also mentions, I guess as the old saying goes, great minds think alike. So 23% of his poll want it removed from the game. 8% say nothing, it should be done with it. It's perfectly fine the way it is. And to you 8%, boo. Next is yeah, exactly. 19% says change its spawn times, make it spawn cooldown on it. I like that idea. That's the one I voted for, by the way. Let's see. Other, please explain. We're not going to go over that one, but the surprise. One thing we're definitely going to discuss before we get into our nerfs, what we would do with the Mark II Oppressor. 45% of professionals poll said add a vehicle or weapon to counter it, like, for example, a new rocket launcher. Riley, what do you think about that brilliant idea?
I think it is a terrible idea, honestly. It's terrible. I do not want to see another launcher or another griefing tool to kill the Mark II, because it's just going to add another problem to this game, more than the one we already have.
Exactly, and that's the problem. You create a weapon to take out the Mark II Oppressor, then the tryhards and the griefers are simply going to shift over from the broomstick to whatever that new toy is. Call it, I don't know, the Deluxo Mark II or whatever. It's just going to make things worse, not better. So I don't think that's a great idea either. But there is some things that we would like to see done regarding to the Mark II Oppressor. Now, Riley, she would like for it to be removed from the game. But sadly, Riley, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's a sad reality. That's the one I voted for, but I doubt it'll happen.
Yeah, you and 23% of the others voted for it. So yeah, the Mark II Oppressor does have its pros, its cons, just like Riley talked about. But it definitely, unfortunately, has been abused by certain players within the Grand Theft Auto Online community. We have come up with our three options, our three things to nerf the Mark II broomstick oppressor. And the first one is to remove it from the motorcycle club.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, it definitely needs that, because honestly, it's not a motorcycle.
Exactly.
It does not have wheels.
No. And
If it doesn't have wheels for me, it's not a motorcycle. But another thing I would add to the waiting time is, you know how the MC, you know how you spawn it in?
yeah.
Alright, so another thing I would add is make it have like a personal aircraft time, because instead of 2 minutes, that is too short. They should make it like 5 minutes. Like
That
how you have
actually
to wait
makes
for an
more
aircraft.
that makes more sense because technically you would classify the Mark II Oppressor as a quote unquote aircraft and not necessarily a motorcycle because motorcycles stay on the ground whereas aircraft are in the air. If you want to go with a simplistic definition of the Mark II Oppressor, it makes more sense to categorize it as an aircraft.
It's literally a flying jet engine.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
When players in the community were petitioning Rockstar to create a biker update and theme, I don't think they were envisioning a flying motorcycle. I think they just wanted regular cruisers, choppers, lowriders. That's what they consider to be motorcycles. So the MC enthusiasts within the Grand Theft Auto community, I think if we were to do a poll with them and ask them if they considered the Mark II Oppressor to be a motorcycle, I get the feeling that the majority of them would say no. The broomstick is not a motorcycle. Therefore, why is it an option in the menu to quickly spawn up? So if Rockstar removes it from that, then you would have to call it up similar to a vehicle. It gets destroyed. Then you have to call Moore's Mutual. Then you would have to request it from the interaction menu. If it gets destroyed again, there's a cooldown. So you can't request it unless you go all the way over there to Moore's Mutual and pick it up. So I think that removing it from the MCs as an option to quickly spawn in is definitely a first step towards nerfing the Mark II Oppressor. The second way we could nerf the broomstick is give it an altitude limit.
Yeah, it definitely does need an altitude limit because it really does not deserve to fight against helicopters or fighter jets that can go to certain altitudes. Because you don't have like a pressurized cockpit like on a pyro or a laser. So yeah, there's no way you could survive up there. I know it's not about realism,
Yeah.
since we have the flying bike, but you get my point.
Yeah.
It does not. It should not be. It does not allow you to survive up there. It's like it should be like underwater, like with the crush depth.
Yep.
But in the air.
Exactly. And it's not just for fighter jets and attack helicopters. It's also for standard planes, and like the Luxor or a Frogger, for example, something like that. It would be a good defensive tactic that players in unarmed jets and helicopters and planes could use to get away from the broomstick. So I definitely think that as tall as Mount Chiliad is, maybe just like a little bit higher than Mount Chiliad, that should be the limit for the broomstick. Once you start getting higher than that, then something very similar to what Riley was talking about, the crush depth that happens when you're in a submarine or even snorkeling in your scuba suit or rebreather or in the Stromberg, you start taking damage. And there's a warning that comes up that you're at crush depth. And if you don't get above crush depth, then obviously you're going to die. The same thing would happen with an altitude limit for the Mark II Oppressor. You get too high, your health starts taking a beating. And you get a warning, you have to get back below the altitude limit for the Mark II Oppressor or you're dead. Okay, so to review, for our nerfs so far, we got remove it from the motorcycle club. Some great ideas bounced back and forth from Riley and me. Next was giving it a limitation when it comes to its altitude. Our third nerf for the Mark II Oppressor is changing the missile type from its OP missiles to something more like the Buzzard or Savage.
I think that's pretty good. It definitely needs some missile nerf because literally nobody uses the cannons or other weapons it has. Everybody just uses the OP missiles because, well, they're just that good. There's no reason to use the cannons. Either you have to buff the cannons in damage, or you should just nerf the missiles to free missiles or normal missiles from the Buzzard so everything becomes more viable and balanced.
Riley just closed the door on that one. So yeah, I agree
No.
entirely, because the OP missiles make it almost impossible for the person being pursued to escape, whereas you might hit a target with the standard missiles, is what I'm going to call the missiles that the Buzzard, Savage, Laser, Hydra, a few other vehicles happen to have. I think that with such a vehicle like the Mark II Oppressor, which is difficult enough to hit already, it would balance it out a little bit and make it more of a defensive vehicle than offensive. Yes, it would still be capable of using the explosive cannon if you want to use explosive cannons instead of missiles. Or if you use the missiles, you could always switch to free aim, and you could just free aim the missile on your target, which requires some sweet skill, by the way. Or if you're going to use a homing variation, just go with the original standard missiles like the Buzzard, Savage, Hydra, Laser have, and put that on the Mark II Oppressor instead of what it currently has. So to review once again, our 3 nerfs: remove it from the Motorcycle Club, altitude limit, as well as changing the missiles of the Mark II Oppressor. I think these 3 things would go a long ways towards nerfing the broomstick, aka the Mark II Oppressor. Now, unfortunately, Riley, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I don't think Rockstar is going to remove it from the game. But we do have an update coming up in a few weeks, and I'm sure Rockstar's heard plenty of negative feedback from the community regarding the Mark II Oppressor. So maybe, just maybe, we might actually see some nerf action done to the Mark II Oppressor. Your prediction: do you think that the Mark II Oppressor will get nerfed by the next update, or do you think nothing will change?
I think something will change with the Mark II. I'm at least hoping, out of all the 3 changes, the missile nerf.
Me too. I hope that Rockstar has been listening to the feedback. They've been promoting their new feedback page for us to give them information about things we like, we don't like, we want added to the game or taken out of the game. A broomstick. But yeah, like I said, the broomstick's probably not going anywhere, but at the very least, Rockstar, if you did those 3 things and maybe some other people's suggestions like The Professional, as well as other Grand Theft Auto content creators out there, also adding their voice to issues concerning this favorite toy of griefers and tryhards, the Mark II Oppressor, aka broomstick. I just feel like simply giving us something to take out the broomstick is not the answer. It's just going to cause an endless cycle of going from the Deluxo to the broomstick to something else entirely that could very well be way worse. Once again, thanks, Riley, for being part of this collab video today regarding nerfing the Mark II Oppressor, aka broomstick. Riley, what is your channel all about? What do you like to do over on your channel?
I usually just like to do GTA Dogfight live streams, Ace Combat 7 live streams, and I'm working on a little movie right now about a pilot series. I don't know what I'm going to name it yet. It's still in the works, but I think you guys will like it if you guys go check it out.
Awesome. So if you're into dogfighting, if you love fighter jets, feel free and check out Riley's channel. I'll have it linked below in the description section. And what are your thoughts regarding the Mark II Oppressor? Do you have any colorful nicknames for it besides the broomstick? Feel free and chime in below with your comments, your thoughts, your views, and opinions regarding the Mark II Oppressor below in the comments section.